Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Today's session is Unlocking the Power of a 401k Benefits for You and Your Firm. It is designed specifically for law firm owners and firm leadership. Some initial housekeeping. This session is being recorded and will be available for later viewing. You're in listen-only mode to ensure sound quality, but we encourage you to submit questions using the Q&A feature at any time. Think of this as a working session designed to help you evaluate whether now might be the right time to start a retirement plan for your law firm. We will also share this presentation and the slides within the next week or two. So next, if you would, please. Unlocking the power of a 401k. Whether you're a solo practitioner or part of a growing law firm, retirement plans are no longer just an employee benefit. They are strategic business tools. And our goal is to understand how a 401k can support your firm's financial health, talent strategy, and long-term planning. Today's session is educational in nature and not intended as legal or tax advice. Our purpose is to help you consider your options so you can make an informed, confident choice aligned with your firm's long-term goals and objectives. Next, please. My name is Matt Donahue. I am a Regional Vice President of Sales for the ABA Retirement Program. I handle New Jersey for the program, or I cover New Jersey for the program, and a large chunk of the Midwest. I'm here with my colleague and good friend, Peter Villani. He handles most of New England and I think maybe one or two other states for the program. So he'll be jumping in just a few minutes to help today. So anyways, that is the two of us who will be presenting. Next, please. So just to provide you with a short agenda, we'd like to begin by talking about what is a 401k to begin with, who's eligible to start saving in a 401k plan, the contributions you can make to the plan, different tax advantages on both the employee and employer side. We'll talk about a little bit about the investment piece and how that works. We'll talk about employer fiduciary obligations and what that means as a sponsor of a retirement plan. And then most importantly, how to start a 401k plan once you've decided that's something you want to do. So next, please. So what is a 401k? That's a very important question. To put it simply, a 401k is a retirement plan sponsored by your firm to allow you and your employees to save for your retirement. That being said, for owners, it's also a critical tax planning and wealth building tool. It can help reduce taxable income, support long-term savings, and create a competitive benefit to enhance recruitment and retention. It's important to note that 401k plans offer something called plan design flexibility. What that means is, if you're looking to max out your contributions as the owner, your plan can be tailored to that objective. Or maybe you're simply looking to get a retirement plan in place with a more moderate savings objective, and your primary goal is to retain your employees. The long and short of it is that your 401k plan can be designed in a manner that falls in line with whatever you're looking to accomplish. Next, please. So who's eligible to create a 401k plan? First, it's important to realize that 401k plans are not limited to large firms or corporations. It's very common for solo legal practitioners to establish solo 401k plans, including situations where a spouse works full-time at the firm. Firms with two or more employees can establish a plan that covers owners and staff. And keep in mind that your plan can scale over time. So as your law firm grows, you can make adjustments to your plan design and make sure that your plan grows with you. To qualify to have a plan, your practice can have a variety of legal structures, not just one. You just have to be able to provide documentation of legal status and tax status and have a tax ID. If you're a sole proprietorship and you don't have an EIN, not a problem. You can simply apply for one on the IRS website, and I don't know if it's instantaneous, but you can get that number pretty quick. So it's pretty simple in that regard. Um, Next, please. Who's eligible to save in a 401k plan? The rules are pretty straightforward. Most plans include full-time employees, associates, partners, and staff. And you might ask yourself, what does full-time mean? Generally speaking, most plans will utilize eligibility requirements that an employee must be a minimum of 21 years of age and have 1 year of full-time service to be eligible for the plan. Within that first year of service, a participant must work 1,000 hours in order to achieve a 1 year service credit, making them eligible. We often get questions about whether any part-time employees are eligible to save in a retirement plan. The answer to that is, it depends. Recent legislation expanded eligibility for long-term part-time employees. This would apply for any folks working between 500 and 1,000 hours. So again, normally you'd need to work 1,000 hours in a year to get into the plan. Long-term part-time rules say that if you don't hit 1,000 hours, but you work at least 500 hours for 2 years in a row, the employer has to let you contribute. So that is long-time part-time eligibility. Next, please. Contributions to the 401k. So if you're a firm owner, you're wearing two hats. You're both the sponsoring employer and an employee for plan purposes, which means you can contribute as an employee and give yourself employer contributions. In terms of employee contributions, you can contribute up to an annual limit of $24,500 in 2026, with catch-up contributions being available if you're over 50. The max contribution when combining employee and employer contributions is $72,000 for an individual participant that's under 50, and that number will increase if you're eligible for catch-ups and over the age of 50. As the employer, the firm owner or owners can decide whether they want to make matching contributions or profit-sharing contributions. Certain types of matches can be built into the plan, and others can be discretionary at year end, similar to making a discretionary profit-sharing contribution at year end. It's important to keep in mind that if you have eligible full-time employees other than yourself, you will likely have to give them something in order to maximize the benefit to yourself. Your contribution strategy is a planning opportunity and not just a cost. Next, please. When can you take the money out? Another very important question. If I contribute to a 401k plan, when can I get the money? Generally, the purpose of these plans is to create a way to save for retirement. So the IRS wants you to keep your 401k money for that purpose and not look at it as just another savings account. They've set the withdrawal age to 59 and a half. So taking withdrawals before age 59 and a half typically incurs penalties and taxes. After age 59 and a half, it's a lot more flexibility. Next, please. Tax advantages to the employee. Before tax contributions, this would be your traditional 401k deferral. The idea being that you don't pay taxes on your contributions today, but you do when you take the money out in retirement. Ideally, when you're in a lower tax bracket, you'd pay taxes on both the contributions you put in and the earnings. Roth, on the other hand, is after-tax contributions, meaning you pay taxes on your contributions today, so that when you take the money out in retirement, you don't pay taxes on the contributions or on the earnings. And to be clear, many employees use both types of contributions as a means of diversification, so they can, work on a income strategy down the road. Anyways, Peter, I'll let you take the wheel from here.
Thank you, Matt. So we've talked about primarily the tax advantages to the employee. So now let's focus more on the tax advantages to the employer. So obviously, your own 401k contributions to the plan will reduce your taxable income. There are a number of tax credits for up to 3 to 5 years for small businesses to start a 401k plan. For example, one of the credits covers plan startup costs. Another covers some of the employer contributions made to the plan. And there's also an additional tax credit available for adding a feature where you automatically enroll all your plan participants. So if you start a plan, you'll want to consult with your accountant on the tax credits that are available for your organization. Administrative fees paid for plan services are also typically a tax-deductible expense. And as Matt mentioned, in addition to making your own 401(k) contributions to the plan, you can make employer contributions to the plan up to 25% of the total compensation of your participating employees. And that is a tax-deductible business expense for you. So 401(k) plans do offer you some flexibility. The employer contributions can be made up to the firm's tax filing deadline, including extensions. And depending on the plan design that you select, your employer contributions can be discretionary from year to year as well. Next, please. So part of setting up a plan involves deciding on the investment options to make available to your plan participants. Typically, plans use mutual funds, although collective investment trust funds are becoming more popular these days due to typically lower fees. And if you're working with an insurance company, you may be offered a group annuity contract. Your service provider, whoever you're working with, will propose or will prompt you to select a diversified portfolio of funds for your plan. Now, some service providers will also offer a brokerage window to allow greater investment flexibility. A brokerage window is typically added in addition to the core fund lineup that you offer to your participants. Although not all service providers will allow that, especially for smaller plans. But it is a very popular option among law firms, we find. So if a brokerage option or a brokerage window sounds attractive to you, you may want to discuss that upfront with whoever you're talking about to provide the plan services for your plan. Also, many plans come with investment advice included, whether it be online or through an advisor. Often the service providers include these services, or you can opt typically for discretionary account management, either through an advisor offered through your service provider, or you could retain an outside investment advisor if you'd like to do that. Opting for discretionary investment management will typically involve additional fees. Next, please. So this slide recaps what we've covered regarding the amounts and types of contributions and the tax advantages of the different contributions. The main things to keep in mind, as Matt really emphasized, the pre-tax contributions reduce your current taxable income, saving you taxes now, but you'll pay taxes on the contributions and earnings when you take that money out. The Roth 401(k) contributions do not provide any current tax benefit, but are withdrawn with earnings, contributions and earnings are withdrawn tax-free. Now, any matching or employer contributions made to the plan, they're taxable when taken out of the plan. And that's regardless of whether you're contributing on a pre-tax or a Roth 401(k) basis. The match and the employer contributions are always taxable upon distribution. So again, just to emphasize, it's not an either-or decision. You can contribute some money as a pre-tax 401(k) contribution, some as Roth. And again, I think as Matt also mentioned that it's many folks do that for tax and retirement planning flexibility. Next slide, please. So how do 401(k) plans compare with other retirement plan options? As you can see from the chart, simple IRAs have lower contribution limits and do not allow loans. And any employer contributions made to a simple IRA must be the same percentage of salary for all employees. A SEP IRA, SEP IRAs do not allow the employees to make their own contributions, and again, also do not allow plan loans and any employer contributions made to that SEP must be made in the same percentage of salary to all participants. So an advantage of 401k plans is that 401k plans offer more plan design flexibility and are often the best option if you're looking to really maximize the money that you put into the plan and defer taxes on. The 401k plan is really a superior option. There are plan design techniques that allow you as the owner to give yourself and any key employees that you'd like to benefit a higher contribution percentage while minimizing the employer contributions that you give to your employees, as long as certain requirements are met. In assets held in another, last comment about this slide is that assets held in 401k plans are protected from creditors, whereas assets held in IRAs are not protected from creditors. Next slide, please. There are some fiduciary responsibilities involved in offering a 401k plan. For example, you must act solely in the interest of your participants. You're responsible for the selection and monitoring of the investments that you offer in the plan, unless your service provider or an outside advisor has taken on that role. And you must avoid conflicts of interest. So, for example, it's probably not a good idea to hire your brother-in-law as a financial advisor to the plan unless he's fully qualified to perform that role. But the good news is that there are services available to assist you, potentially through the service provider that you select, or by retaining an outside plan advisor. Next slide, please. So there are different types of retirement plan brokers and advisors out there in the industry. A registered investment advisor is held to a higher fiduciary standard than someone who is not a registered investment advisor. Advisors can be used to assist the plan sponsor in running the plan, assist the plan participants, or do both. Many service providers will provide at least some of the same services. So a few questions that you may want to ask if you're talking to various service providers about starting a 401k plan or to plan advisors. Ask them, do you take on a fiduciary role with the plan? And if so, what level of fiduciary role? Because there are different levels of fiduciary oversight involved in working with these plans. And ask them to provide something in writing that explains their role. Because the industry terminology is such that it can be really confusing, and plan sponsors can get the impression that they have more fiduciary protection provided by their service providers than they actually may have. Next slide, please. So before we talk about starting a plan, I'll share what our clients tell us are some of the additional benefits in offering a 401k plan. So, one of the key benefits is helping you attract and retain employees, and also to reduce employee turnover as well. And enhancing morale and boosting productivity is important because there's been a number of studies that show that employees often are financially stressed. Um, and when they're under stress financially, they bring that to work and they spend a lot of work time trying to resolve their financial issues. So that can be a key benefit of having a plan, so that to avoid employees spending their work time trying to resolve their issues. And I think one other benefit to keep in mind is that when it's an appropriate time for an employee to retire, you want them to be able to retire. You don't want somebody staying on the job because their only reason for staying is that they just can't afford to retire. Um, with that, I will turn it back over to Matt to talk to you about how to start a 401k plan.
Thank you, Peter. So how to start a 401k plan? The first step is to choose a financial service provider. For example, the ABA Retirement Funds Program. We've helped countless solo and small law firms establish retirement plans. After you've chosen a service provider, an initial meeting is a great opportunity to discuss plan design and complete a 401(k) application. The application is then utilized to have plan documents created. Next, it's pretty straightforward. Your plan is in place, and it's time to get your participants enrolled. Participants are provided with important information about the plan, how to designate a beneficiary, and make sure they understand how to make rollovers into their account if that's something they want to do. Um, Once everyone is enrolled, it's time to start making contributions. Most firms do this online via ACH from the firm's operating account, or you can probably do it snail mail, but the kind of wiser way to do it is electronically. Lastly, if you're lucky enough to choose a bundled service provider like the AB Retirement Funds program, we'll handle the necessary record keeping and compliance activities for you. Um, Next, please. So let's talk about the ABA Retirement Funds program. Um, we are exclusive to the legal community. The legal community is not one of our niche markets. It's our only market. We get the legal industry, and we are laser focused on improving retirement outcomes. The program has currently $8.1 billion in assets and over 36,000 participants. Um, we innovate with a purpose. We innovate to help improve the financial security of our employees, which means helping you help your employees. We're also innovating to become the easiest company you've done business with. Our culture is, something that sets us apart. Our culture attracts people that are passionate about serving others and passionate about retirement, a passion that extends into the communities we serve. We have over 60 years worth of experience serving legal professionals. We strive to do the right thing the right way and make a real genuine difference in the lives of all of our customers. Next, please. Let's take a short look at how we're structured. The ABA Retirement Funds program is a not-for-profit corporation that brings together nearly 38,000 law firm retirement plans to offer a platform of investments and a service package that is typically only available to much, much larger corporate plans. Again, there's over 8 billion in assets, and we leverage that size to get some of the best known service providers involved. You may know some of the names. You see Voya, Mercer, and Charles Schwab. Um, because of this unique structure, again, where we're leveraging the whole size of the legal community to make this possible, our program is available with no startup fees and no ongoing out-of-pocket fees. So if you're considering putting a plan in place, just know that, there's not some big upfront charge. I can't tell you how many law firms I've met at conventions and in different ways over the years that say, I set up a plan a couple of years back and it costs me so much and there's so much in out-of-pocket fees, and we're able to keep the cost very low and get rid of those fees, which is very, very nice. So next, please, if you would. Um, so what differentiates the program? Um, there are four primary differences, I would say. The first, as discussed, we are exclusive to the legal community and have more experience with law firm retirement plans than any other retirement provider. Um, Two, our board of directors in a fiduciary capacity selects and monitors the program service providers. This saves you as the plan sponsor, saves you time, money, and mitigates risk significantly. Um, Three, because of this unique structure, we provide the highest level of investment fiduciary oversight available under ERISA, which is very impressive. And four, excuse me, our board uses consultants as experts to complete in-depth reviews of the program and its operations. So the level of due diligence they provide to our law firms in terms of reviewing the service providers and making sure that they're the best that they can be is sort of invaluable. So we're very grateful and very lucky to have the board of directors that we have. So next, please. Just so you can see, this is a map showing our current clients across the country. Again, over 3,800 law firm retirement plans, including solo, small, mid-sized law firms, utilize the program. You probably know some of them. So that's just to kind of show you that we are spread out all around the country and not just in just one area. Next, please. If you have any questions or you'd like to, schedule a meeting with myself, Peter Villani, or one of the other regional vice presidents to chat through, potentially putting a retirement plan in place, here are some great resources. The QR code is a link to our website. There's also an email, join us at abaretirement.com. You can copy and paste that or just click it right now so it's open in your browser so you can, when you have time, shoot us an email later on. And you can even copy and paste your signature line right in there and shoot it to us, and we'll make sure we get in touch with you and chat through any questions you might have. If you'd rather pick up the phone, you can call us anytime. It's the phone number's right there. So take a screenshot of this and definitely follow up with us. So next, please. Just some important information from our legal team. I have to show you that for at least 5 seconds. So we'll let that hang out there for just a second. And next, please. So yeah, so here we are. I hope that was helpful. We saved a good amount of time for questions. I did hear some dinging on my computer. I'm not sure if those were questions or not, but Peter and I left some time available if anybody wants to chat through anything in particular. So I'll kind of pause here and see where we're at.
Yeah, Matt, I do see one question that I can take.
Please.
So the question is for profit sharing based employer contributions, does the owner have to give the same percentage to themselves and all enrolled employees? So it's a very good question. It's kind of a differentiating factor with a 401k plan versus a simple or a SEP. With a 401k plan, you can design the plan where you can contribute greater amounts to the owners and also certain employees who you may want to reward than your staff. There are different techniques to do that. But there's definitely ways to leverage your contributions. Without getting into too much detail, there's a plan design technique called cross-testing that may work for your plan. And that typically allows you to maximize your contribution while giving a minimum amount to your staff. So there's a couple of different plan design techniques, but that is possible. Let's see. One other question that was submitted earlier, we were asked about rollovers. What retirement assets can be rolled over into a 401k plan? And the answer to that is really just about any retirement assets that you may have can be rolled over into a 401k plan. And the only exceptions are Roth IRAs and Roth after-tax IRAs. So currently, those are the only two types of retirement money that can't be rolled over into a 401k plan. Although there was a proposal to allow Roth IRAs, but I don't, that has not been uh, completed yet. Let's see. See if there were anything else submitted earlier. And so, another question that had come in. So how do you decide whether you want to make pre-tax 401k contributions or Roth 401k contributions? What's the benefit? And the general rule of thumb is pre-tax 401k contributions are better if you feel your tax bracket will be lower in retirement. And Roth 401k contributions may be better if you feel your tax bracket will be higher in retirement. But also, as we mentioned earlier, just the tax planning and retirement planning flexibility that doing a little of each that can go a long way, really.
Another question too, Peter, I think from a webinar not too long ago was about uh, retroactive profit sharing plans. Am I able to put a profit sharing plan in place for plan year 2025? in the year 2026, and there is flexibility up until your tax filing deadline, I believe. And Peter, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I know we have set up plans, pure profit sharing plans retroactively, so it's not too late. If it's something, you might have talked to your accountant recently and you said, geez, man, I wish I had set up a profit sharing plan to put some money away for last year. Well, the door hasn't closed yet, so please reach out to us as soon as possible, or definitely follow up on that sooner than later, because there still is an opportunity. And the rules changed. Secure Act 2.0 changed the rules. So if you are and Peter, you can correct me here too, if you're a solo employee, if you have one employee yourself and you're taxed as a sole prop, I believe you can do a retroactive 401k plan if that's something of interest. So anyways, not to complicate things, but just know that if you're looking back on 2025 and thinking, geez, I wish I had done something, it's something worth having a conversation around still.
Yeah, and I think I'll add just that it's not only the tax filing deadline, but tax filing deadline, including extensions if you get an extension. So it gives you a little more time if you're thinking of it.
Good point. Yep.
Um, there was a question about Roth as well. And um, Roth IRAs, there's no requirement that you take a required minimum distribution at a certain age. And only fairly recently, Roth 401k plans are now in alignment with a Roth IRA, so that if you have money in a Roth 401k plan, you no longer have to take a required minimum distribution, which they start at age 73 currently, and that age will be going up to age 75. So that's kind of a recent Roth change. There's been a lot of interest in Roth that we've gotten. And all our plans actually have Roth built in as a standard option. So it's not something that you have to opt for. Any other questions?
Anything else? Yep. So, and if there are questions, if later on you're thinking, geez, I wish I had asked something, please just email it along to us to the email, join us at abaretirement.com, and we'll definitely make sure we get you some answers.
Okay.
So,
All right.
I
Well,
think that's it, I guess. All
I think
right.
we'll wrap it up, huh?
Alrighty. Well, thank you everybody for joining. I hope you found it productive and it was a helpful discussion. Appreciate you taking some time to join us. I know you're all very busy, but yes, thank you again, and thank you, Peter, and everyone who helped with this.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you so much.